Okay, you're all set.
Okay, I'd like to call the infrastructure meeting for April 5th to order. Now entertain a motion to accept the minutes from the last month's meeting. Motion by Canales, second by Mayor Rosenquist. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are accepted as read. All right, we have a pretty busy meeting tonight, so I'll try to keep things moving as much as possible here. Under Public Works, we have 2.1 draft resolution authorizing capital project H5110.77 street resurfacing. Does everybody have read these or have a copy of them so we can follow along? Very good. I entertain a motion to move this to the regular meeting. Make that motion. Second by Councilor Canales. Discussion.
Yeah, folks, there is no change in the total cost of this capital project allocation. The changes that we're asking for here are changes to the individual project amounts. Specifically, if you look at that front page, the Beekman Street design has come in significantly under what was projected. And then there's an allocation of funds to the individual other street street reconstruction designs that we're also looking at discussing later on in tonight's agenda.
Oh, okay. What were the street designs for Beekman, Maryland, South Peru, and New York? These have to do with the water lines or something like that?
Some of them are full depth reconstructions, and then also some of them are just resurfacing. But there are a number of water line reconstructions included in this, which do cover Maryland, New York, and South Peru.
Okay.
What we're trying to do, Councilor Moore, is particularly Maryland and New York Road. Both of those are substantial stretches of the AC pipe. Maryland is going to be a tricky one as far as it running through a densely populated area. But that's the first step in reconstructing Maryland, would be to get that water line out of the way. And then New York Road is actually relatively easy. Straight run. We've got plenty of lane width out there. We got 4 lanes. This is a section from Seton all the way back down towards Skyway. And that would be a good run to get out of the way also. We've had a substantial break history in both areas.
I just had a question. How much of our CHIPS money is that 185,000? Is that a large portion of it or all of it, or?
Okay, so we talk about CHIPS money. Last year, the state withheld 20%. So the 185,000 is actually the rollover amount of what we did not spend last year. Typically, we get in the neighborhood of $600,000. When we generated the capital budget for this year, not knowing what we're going to get, we only budgeted to use 185,000 plus or minus a little bit there. We got a letter last week. They're going to give us 15% of that, what they took away back. And then we hopefully should know by the end of May what our allocation will be for CHIPS, EWR, and Pave New York funds for this coming year. Typically, we're in the neighborhood of $550,000 to $600,000, but we won't know that for about another month.
Very good. Does anyone else have any questions? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Move it to the agenda. Next draft resolution is 2.2, authorizing award and design of Beekman Street reconstruction. I have a motion to move that to the agenda for the regular meeting. I'll make motion. Second, Jamie Canales. Discussion.
Again, as noted, this is a design award to RMS for the reconstruction of Beekman Street.
Is that going to be the whole length of Beekman, or is that just a section of it?
It'd be from Cornelia all the way out to Boynton.
Oh, okay, so it's the entire street. Well,
Or I'm sorry,
not the
I'm
entire-
sorry. Yeah, it'll be Cornelia Street to Boynton.
Very good.
So the majority of it, not the part that runs through campus in front of Red K and Hawkins.
Yeah. The other part seems to be, and that's going to be a full reconstruction?
Yeah, the other part was actually done 8 to 10 years ago. They did a full depth reconstruction there.
Okay, yeah, it is in bad shape. Is there any further discussion on that item? Now we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. We now move on to 2.3, draft resolution authorizing award of design phase of Maryland Road waterline reconstruction. Entertaining motion to move this to the regular agenda. Rosenquist,
I'll second.
second by Canales. Any discussion on this one?
Pretty much the same. It's the awarding the design phase of the Maryland Road water line.
Got a lot of papers here, so trying to keep up.
Yeah, it's a 2.3. It should be pages 3 and 4.
Okay, I got it here. All right. And Narrow Road. Is this where we had all the problems with the water line leaks a few years ago?
Yeah, we had a pretty heavy break history in that location, all along Maryland, for that matter. So that is why we're keying on, like we said previously, and also the New York Road section we've had in the last 2 years. I think 3 big water main breaks. It's a 10-inch line. So.
Okay, is there any further discussion on this item?
No more discussion.
Okay, in that case, all in favor of moving this to the regular agenda for this month's meeting?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Let's move to the agenda of the regular meeting. Chairman Moore, Councilor Kelly just texted, said he's trying to join via his phone. I did send him the Zoom link for this. Okay.
Hopefully he can jump in.
Just wait a minute, see if you had any discussion on 2.3. Yeah.
Chairman Moore, I'd recommend continuing until he gets here, and then he can probably just jump into the conversation.
Yeah, we have a pretty big agenda here, so okay. Did we vote on 2.3 yet? Beth? Okay, so we're on to 2.4. Very good. And that's pretty similar. That's authorizing the award of design phase of New York Road water line. Is there any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry, we entertain a motion.
Motion.
This to the agenda by
I'll make that motion.
Canales, or
Second.
Mayor Rosenquist, seconded by Councilor Canales. Any discussion? I think this is pretty similar to the other one. If not, I'll signify by saying aye if we want to move this to the agenda.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Guys have it. 2.4 moves to the agenda, regular agenda. 2.5, authorizing the award design phase of South Peru Street water line reconstruction. Make a motion to move that to the agenda. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Canales. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that's moved to 2.5 is moved to the regular agenda. 2.6, authorizing award design phase of the city of Plattsburgh. Whoops, did I miss it? No, I didn't. Or an annual sidewalk improvement program. 2.6, I would entertain a motion to move that to the regular agenda. Mayor Rosenquist. Second by Councilor Canales. Discussion.
Yes, on this item, there was, let me just see here, $50,000 for miscellaneous sidewalks and ADA improvements. This $6,500 goes towards that sidewalk work that we've allocated capital project funds for. And this will start to kick off that process. Right now, we have identified at least one sidewalk that we're looking to improve. That was identified earlier on in the year. And then moving forward in coming years, we'll continue to allocate funds to the sidewalk improvement program and continue to do that work throughout the city.
Chris, is this going to create like a sidewalk plan going forward where we're going to have an idea where we're going?
We have some sense of where we're going, but right now we have an immediate need up on Cornelia Street that we've identified, and that was supposed to be part of the PSEP grant. We'll talk about the PSEP grant here in a moment. But the section of road that connects Stewart's to Prospect on Cornelia Street is in major need for a revision. But moving forward, yes, we are looking at identifying pockets of areas in the city which are essentially really need the attention, and then hopefully and ideally prioritize those pockets and then start chipping away at the development of those sidewalks.
Very good. Is there any other discussion on the sidewalk design? 2.6. If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. 2.6 moved to the agenda. 2.7, authorizing award of the construction phase of the Cogan Avenue reconstruction project. I'd like to make a motion to move that regular agenda. Seconded by Councilor Canales. Discussion.
So as most of you all aware, the Cogan Avenue reconstruction, which is a full depth reconstruction project, has been on the city's radar for a number of years now. It went out for engineering estimates, and just this last week, when the construction estimates were returned, the bids were returned and opened, we are looking at a a little bit more than $1.8 million in construction costs for this. The project was, or we're recommending and requesting that the project be awarded to the lowest bidder on this, which was Luck Brothers. And as expected, the amount that this project came in was a little bit over than Well, actually it came in under the engineer's estimate, correct? Did it, Andrew?
No, it was actually about 100 I believe 180,000 higher than the
Okay.
engineer's estimate.
Okay. The whole notion though was that all the bids came back in a pretty decent range. None were any outlier. So we knew that the bids that did come back could be relied on in that sense. But we are going to have to look at the amount that we're going to expend on this project. And considering the amount to be spent on the project, we looked at the design of the project, and there was, quite frankly, nothing that stood out as, in terms of the expense of the different components of the project. Nothing on its own stood out as egregious. So every component of the project contributed to the overall expense of the project.
I'd just like to add, with short of rescoping the job completely, there, like the mayor just said, there's no single component. It's not like we can take out some trees or take out a sidewalk. It kind of is what it is. There's no one, like I said, no one little thing that's going to make this more palatable by any means.
So how are we planning on paying for this? Going to be a capital project, I take it. Am I correct?
Yeah, currently it's set up to be a capital project funded out of water funds and then general fund. We have the ability down the road to seek reimbursement for portions of it through CHIPS funding. That will be determined based on what we get this year for CHIPS allotment. But we were looking at some numbers probably in the range of $300,000 we could potentially take from CHIPS. A lot of it will depend on how we want to spend that CHIPS money, whether we want to do some more mill fills or whether we want to put it towards Cogan Avenue.
Well, I guess the moral of the story is when you wait 10 years to do a project, it becomes only more expensive over time. So it's been on the books for a long time. Is there any further discussion on Cogan Avenue?
Yeah, just to clarify the start date of this, we are looking at, when are we looking at, Mike, to start the construction work?
We would probably try to issue a notice to proceed immediately after you vote on it at the next council meeting. And so we're talking paperwork. I'm going to say the beginning of May. Try to mobilize. A lot will depend on, like I said, just getting the wheels rolling on it. I have to check on the buyout portion of it, where the pipe would be. Obviously, you work from the bottom up, so they're gonna want to do the water line first. I'll probably run both things simultaneously, but we have 180 or 120 days completion on this, Andrew.
180.
Okay. It'll be done and buttoned up before the end of the year and before snow flies.
Yeah, we'll likely want to do, preceding the start of the project, is send direct mail to the different residents to let them know, hey, this is going to start. This is what we should expect. We do appreciate your patience. It's been years coming, and a number of residents on Cogan have reached out to me, expressing an overall appreciation of the attention that street's being given. A number have also expressed their concern about the speed at which people use that street to cut across the city, and so we're looking at and hopefully having this be a part of that, the ability to slow traffic down, and then also to just that ongoing improvement of our city streets.
Yeah, and I just wanted to comment that I know the council had spent a lot of time on this, and I think we got this project to where it needs to be. I don't think, like the others have commented, that we could have changed anything or cut anything out without really compromising the project. So if we're going to spend all that money, we need to do it right. Okay, any further discussion? If not, All in favor of moving this resolution to the regular meeting signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion is carried. Move to the regular agenda. 2.8, draft resolution authorizing award of construction management phase of Cogan Avenue reconstruction project. Okay, that's 2.8. Entertain a motion to move this to the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Councilor Canales, second by Councilor Moore. Discussion?
Andrew and Mike, I'll hand this one off to you. You'll speak more intelligently to this than I will.
This component of it is just that. It's the administrational cost. The consult. We are going to utilize the designer for infield construction oversight. They will take care of the administrative end, the submittals, pay apps, basically the day-to-day. There'll be a person out there making sure that this thing is installed correctly. There is a material testing component, which is included in this, I believe. Is it in that, Andrew, or is it in the Sutherland one?
It's the second one, actually. That's the second.
So there won't be testing in this one, this part of it, but the next resolution will have the material testing and also the SWIFT reporting.
And these are to make sure that that everything is done correctly and up to code and all that. That's basically what this is.
That is correct. They will. They'll make sure that what they designed is put in. If we encounter a field condition that needs a judgment call in the field, they will be the one that will point out what it or make a recommendation. This is a pretty straightforward job. I don't want to jinx anyone by any means, but it's not a lot of complexity to it. Occasionally, like I said, occasionally you can run across something. There is a contingency allowance included in the 1.833 of about $70,000 to deal with a lot of the field conditions. But it's important to have those people there to make sure we're getting what we're paying for.
Okay, is there any further discussion on this item? If not, proceed to vote to move it to the regular agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 2.8 is moved to the regular agenda for the regular meeting. 2.9, authorizing award of New York State DEC Storm Water Pollution Prevention Plan inspection and material testing phase of Cogan Avenue reconstruction project. Entertain a motion to move this to the regular meeting agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Councilor Canales. Discussion. Yeah, I believe this is pretty straightforward. Make sure we're following the rules again. Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor of moving this to the agenda of the regular meeting, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 2.9 is moved to the agenda of the regular meeting. Okay, 2.10, comments on the DPW tour. Just had a couple of comments. That was, we had a visit with at the DPW headquarters. Councilor Talon, Councilor Rosenquist and myself this past Tuesday. It was a very informative meeting. I enjoyed it very much, as did the others. We got to see what a big job it is to map out all the water and wastewater systems and all the documents that we need to be able to service our water and wastewater lines. It's an ongoing project, and it's very extensive, and I saw that we're making a lot of headway there. We're looking into the pipes. It was very good. We also got to see some of the new equipment that we approved, which is working very well. We've got ground penetrating pipe tracing unit. It works out very, very well, saves a lot of man hours. I didn't realize how many dig safe permits we did, but I found out. We had one come in just as we were there. So also the new trackless, we have a salt spreader, which turned working out very well for us. It's a very valuable piece of equipment. And we're glad to see these things are being used well. And it was great to get to see everyone right up where all the action is happening. I guess there's no other discussion on that. Is there any updates on DPW 2021 plan projects? Mike? I know you had handed us a project list at the last.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll hit on, obviously we've spoke about Kogan, the sidewalk replacement program. And then we talked about Beekman, Maryland, New York Road, and South Parade Street. We kind of know where we're going, the direction on those. I'm going to let Andrew talk about the PSAP grant. We had an unsuccessful bid, and he's going to fill you in really quickly on what that means. I'm going to mute myself here.
So we put the pedestrian safety action plan grant out to bid, and we only had one contractor bid on the project, and they were about $472,000 higher than what our engineering estimate was for the project. After talking to some contractors, there wasn't a whole lot of interest in the project. Number one, because we were bidding it a little late in the season, and a lot of the contractors, this is kind of specialty work, signalization work. So a lot of the contractors who do the signalization work already had similar projects that were lined up for the year. So we spoke to DOT, and what we are going to do is we are going to put this project on hold until this fall, and we will put it back out to bid and contact some more signalization companies and hopefully get more people to bid on the project and get a more favorable number and do a spring construction 2022.
Very good.
Moving on from that, Riley Ave water extension. This project is put out to bid on the 22nd. Will be open on April 13th. That's a straight water line replacement. It's that short connector piece. We've been out there. It's a relatively minor job. DPW boiler replacement project. The design engineer was in last week working on design. This is one we really have to expedite. This has to be done before next, basically winter. So we're talking about taking the heat plants out of our two main buildings here at Public Works and replacing them. So time is of the essence on that one, and I'm going to be very involved in that myself. Something else we're working on with the mayor and staff here is we're talking about yard waste. We've started putting pencil to paper. I've got a draft document about how we maybe want to move forward here in the city with handling yard waste, such as number one, changing from paper or from plastic to paper, which should have happened a long time ago. And then also about fees and for this service. We will be addressing this in a small form with the mayor in the near future with what we have collected for him in our department, and then presenting it here shortly. Wilcox Dock, again, no update on that. There's a phase 2, which we're going to probably look into either I'm going to say late summer. We got to get some of these other projects kicked off, but we do have some extra docks from the GE project to put over there. Phase 1, we are completing, currently putting the site lighting in and touching up the final details so we can close out phase 1 with the DEC.
I do want to note on that. Mike and I spoke today about installing the concrete pad for the dock or for the boat launch out there as well under DEC well, the DEC has the authority to install the concrete pads. The concrete pads are already there. They need to be installed, and DEC will oversee that work, but we'll end up probably doing that work.
Yeah, they're gonna come to the site, and that's the boat launch again on the it'll be the north side of Wilcox, the most popular launch because it's a deep water launch. But we have some scour on the current pad, and we obtained some basically they're concrete mats that we can install, and because they don't have the time to get here to do it for us, we'll probably set them. Well, not probably. We're going to set them ourselves, but they'll send a person up just to make sure that we're in compliance with their rules. Bridge New York program, no update at this time. That's still in the preliminary phase. Sailors Beach Bridge. This is the bridge that goes over the Terry Gordon bike path. I'm still currently trying to procure the correct lumber for it, having trouble finding second and third sources, the particular lumber we're looking for, but we'll continue on that. But we definitely need to start picking away at getting that back open, as it is very popular. The rest of the projects, there's no current updates because we have not commenced them. We've concentrated our efforts on primarily, like you said, the PSAP and getting Kogan Ave moving here. Moving on to the city beach, obviously there's been a lot of action there. DPW staff spent the better part of a week and a half to 2 weeks out there on cleanup. The next phase will be the bathhouse work, which we're going to be replacing the flush valves and faucets in the south bathhouse. Should have the parts, I would hope, within the next week. And temperatures are getting better to get in there and do that work. The other thing we're going to be working on is removing the Anderson building, demoing that. We'll be working with a contractor. Purchase orders were written last week, I believe. As soon as we get the paper back, we'll schedule it and get that out of the way. So we will be in good shape for this beach season. And that's what I have so far.
Thank you very much, Mike. That's appreciated. This just a brief discussion. Maybe the mayor could fill us in. I know in my walks about the city, I see some projects getting started, and I know some people in the public must wonder what's going on, and like on Pine Street. The Arts Park and Farmers Market, I see there is activity there, and I just thought the mayor might want to make a comment on these are very good projects, very worthwhile projects, and worth noting.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Moore. As noted in a number of project updates, the farmers market is slated to open on time this year. We're working through some contractual concerns and questions with the market organizers. As you have noted, the Pine Street Bridge and the Saranac River Trail is under full swing. We should be looking at a completion of sometime this year. The Arts Park as well. The construction on that Arts Park is up and running. And if you could entertain me jumping down to 2.14 to just briefly discuss the city parks the city parks report.
Yeah, by all means, Chris.
Thank you. So about 2 weeks back or so, I asked upstairs to do a full assessment of our city parks. We're currently working through that document now. Oh, Matt, sorry, I just saw Matt's on. But we are currently working through that report now. It's about 13 pages, and it outlines every single city park that we have. It rates it between hazardous to excellent. It highlights the different amenities in each park. We map and outline the location of each park. We provide a description of what the park is and what it provides to the community, and then future potential use of the park. The concern, as many of us have, is the state of our parks with the I don't really know how else to describe it, but with the defunding, I guess, of the recreation department, that department was the primary source of managing our parks, and without the staff that was allocated, or the funds and resources allocated to that department, we've seen a significant degradation in the quality of our parks. So that, combined with the lack of a rec department and the lack of rec programming, it's going to be my position and my request of this council to review the report and allocate some funds to improve our parks. That, quite frankly, right now, that's the only recreation that we provide in the city, or only recreation outlet that we provide and organize as a city, is our parks. And as we've seen, the work that's been done at the beach has been fantastic. It's been well received. We've had a number of comments. Even this morning on Monday with the mayor, we had a call thanking us for the work that we're doing at the beach. And I've been out there. I was out there with Mike and Andrew touring the work that they've been doing. I was out there last week to look at the follow-up, and I was actually out there over the weekend to just see how things were progressing. And it's very exciting to see the work that's being done out there. And that's the kind of work that I would like for this council and this administration to continue on. A number of these parks are in gross disrepair, hazardous disrepair, and a lot of the play equipment is boarded up, fenced up. I don't want my child playing on this equipment. The benches are in disrepair, nails sticking through the benches and bolts showing through the wood, and the wood rotting and falling apart. So we do, and we should look at this as an opportunity to invest in recreation in the city, to invest in our parks and green space. We do like being outdoors. Councilmember, you just said, you're taking a walk about the city. That's what we do, especially in the summertime. We like to get outside. We like to use our green space. So with that being said, and like I mentioned, Matt Miller's office and myself and my office have been working through this parks report. We hope to have it out. I was pressing to have it out today, but I want to do it right. I want to do it thoroughly, and we should have something out before the end of this week. I'm working on a couple details, and Matt Miller's office upstairs is working on a couple details to get this parks report completed and sent out. But short of that, I'm more than willing to answer any questions or any concerns that anybody has. But you will see, because of the legality of it and the concern for hazard and safety, before this report comes out, we will be out in parks removing equipment, because it's just, quite frankly, we can't have it up right now because of the state that it's in certain parks.
I agree.
Matt, would you like to add to anything?
No, you covered everything. The mayor is absolutely right. The parks are in a general state of disrepair and in need of investment. And we actually started taking down some of the more problematic equipment today.
Yeah, and I got a phone call immediately when that started happening. So, people notice, and like you said, Councilor Moore, people notice that there's activity happening. They know that, we're doing everything we can to make improvements to be better for the community, and excuse me, and they see what's happening. They see and they comment. So, and we appreciate it. We appreciate people noticing the work that we're doing. So this has got to, in my mind, this has to be part of it. Anything else other than that? We did review 2.13. We talked about the street paving projects. A number of these resurfacing projects that we had passed early on in the year for capital during for the capital budget. But if there's any other question on those, we can certainly entertain the discussion on that as well.
Well, my only comment is we had a lot less potholes this year, and I'm really happy that that was not a major complaint this year. Years past, we've had some really abrasive people who are upset about the potholes, and I think we're making progress. Very good. It reflects well on everyone, especially Public Works.
Yeah, I will tell you, out of all the departments, these folks that are in my office once or twice a day, me asking them, hey, can you take this on? Can you do this? Can you do that? And they haven't said no yet, but I understand why. They do really great work for the city. And by the way, that's not to diminish CDO or Dean's work or John's work, but these folks they day in, day out, they're just ready to serve our community, ready to serve our city. And I know Mike doesn't like the acknowledgement, but doing great work. And I really appreciate the work that they're doing.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I see you're here. Hi, Mike. So you've joined us.
He looks, he was frozen.
Can you hear us okay, Mike?
Yeah, just fine.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
All right, I guess now moving on to environmental, we have 3.1 to move to the regular meeting agenda. It's authorizing amendment to capital project H8320.79 water system improvements. I'd entertain a motion to move this to the regular agenda.
Motion.
I'll make that motion. Second?
Second.
Second by Councillor Canales. Any discussion on this one?
I'll hand this off to John. I think he can probably speak to it a little bit more, but these funds do come out of water sewer.
Yeah, they come out of the water fund in particular, and it's to continue to supply the funding for the improvements that are being made system-wide, from the new well fields, transmission lines, down through rescoping the grant applications that we're preparing to do so we can make upgrades to the water filtration plants, distribution system, the asbestos cement pipe, and you're going to see a resolution later on the agenda for replacing the activated carbon at the filters at the water plant. Activated carbon is one of the important components of those filters, and that material has a life expectancy on it that's about near the end, and we got a bid for replacing that.
Hey, John, I just had one question for you, not directly related to that, but the asbestos cement pipe, is that mostly out on the base, or is there some of that in the city proper?
As far as I know, it's just on the base. Mike or Andrew can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the only place we've got it. If you want to talk wood pipe, we've got some wood pipe in other parts of the city.
Yeah, the AC pipe's all out on the new base section. Actually, the old base doesn't even have AC pipe. That's all old cast iron. But the new base is all asbestos.
Is there any other discussion on item 3.1? If not, all in favor of moving it to the agenda of the regular meeting, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion is carried. Move to the regular agenda. Uh, 2.2 draft resolution authorizing agreement WRRF disinfection and odor control upgrades. Entertain a motion to move that to the regular meeting.
Motion.
Motion by Canales, second by Councillor Moore. Discussion.
Just to clarify, the document that we all received on pages 66 through 69 has a typo. The project cost, the contract amount is $355, not $335. So there's a number of there's in one place where it says contract amount, it does say $355, but in every other place it's referenced as $335. I apologize for that.
Yeah, we have a corrected version of it that we got just before the meeting. So that's the one we would be voting on.
Great, yes.
So, John, how is this coming? How is this going to help us? Is this going to do anything for the sound?
Not for the sound, but it's going to
generator
do a lot for the efficiency of the disinfection. It's going to get a really crummy old looking building off the south side of the plant, so we can start to make that look more attractive to developers. It's going to prevent or make it so that we don't need to run our all the really large tankers that we have towards the back of the plant to offload. Though more of them will be offloading up towards the front of the plant. And the building that's being designed is actually one of the first things you're going to see as you enter the WRF campus. And the architecture of the building has been done in such a way that it's going to go a long way towards announcing what the mission of the facility is, which is environmental protection and sustainability, and welcoming people to a harbor side and a campus that we're hoping they're going to enjoy and use a lot more than they have in the past. The two chemicals involved are sodium hypochlorite, which is what's used for disinfecting the effluent. Right now, that's all stored on the south side of the plant and has to get pumped all the way to the north side of the plant. So we'll now be storing that chemical up very close to the point of application. And then before we discharge the effluent, after it's been disinfected, we add another chemical called sodium thiosulfate, which removes any residual chlorine from the effluent to protect the environment. That right now is also located on the south side of the plant. So it's now going to be a lot closer to the point of application. So we'll be getting trucks off the south side of the plant, and we'll have more efficient control over the feeding of those chemicals.
Okay, so that's farther down the road to do something with the aerators, the pumps, noise and the.
Correct. The long-term solution for the noise from the aerators is further down the road. If it turns out that the existing level of noise is causing a disruption, like to the new farmers market or to other activities that are going on, we do have the means to implement interim noise reduction measures. You might recall 2 summers ago, we constructed a prototype sound enclosure around one of the aerators that worked very well. If we need to, we can invest in making 5 more of those to limit the noise. But that's something we can do relatively quickly if it needs to be done.
Well, I know everyone is hoping that all these adjustments will make it a much more desirable area to be in. So,
oh yeah,
we're counting on you, John.
All right.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on 3.2? If not, all in favor of moving this to the regular meeting agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. 3.2 is moved to the regular meeting agenda. 3.3, draft resolution. Authorizing agreement with Lake Champlain Basin Program, illicit discharge and elimination IDDE study phase 2. Entertain a motion, move this to the regular meeting.
Motion.
Motion by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Canales. Discussion.
Yeah, this is the second phase of a study done by which is administered by Lake Champlain Basin Program. The amount that's being administered, the 19,000, just over 19,000, is federal funds that is administered by the Lake Champlain Basin Program. There's a $500 match from the city. But essentially, this program studies our sewer water, our sewer runoff, to test for any sewage or raw sewage that may be intermixed in this. and then any remediation initiatives that need to be taken after this. This is the second phase of this project. The first phase did identify a number of concerns for illicit discharge in our stormwater, which were then, I believe, John, let me know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I believe it was remediated at the point when we did identify illicit discharges in the first study. But this second study is a follow-up to that.
Right.
And I take it this is something we have to do, right?
It's something eventually we'll have to do. It would later on, it would be on our own dime. So the fact that we're able to use the federal funds is saving us a fair amount of money. And it's all geared towards making sure that the lake water quality is as good as it possibly can be, especially with our beach.
Very good. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, please. Whoops, is it? Anyone have it? No one's had anything. Okay, very good. We'll proceed to measure. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Move to the regular meeting agenda. 3.4, authorizing award for chemicals for the WRF, as John says. I'll entertain a motion to move this to the regular agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Mayor Rosenquist, second by Councilor Canales. Any discussion?
As John indicated early on when he was talking about the number of upgrades, the sodium thiosulfate is a chemical that offsets the chlorine concentrate in the wastewater after it's been treated and before it's put back into the river.
Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of moving this to the regular meeting agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 3.4 is moved to the regular meeting agenda. 3.5, draft resolution authorizing award for activated carbon for the water filtration plant. Entertain a motion to move that to the regular agenda.
Motion.
Mayor Rosenquist motion.
Second.
Second, Councilor Canales. Any discussion on this one? Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, again, as Mr. Ruff indicated, this is upstream, if you will. It's part of the filtering process of our drinking water. The life cycle of the activated carbon is coming to its end, so we want to get ahead of this and get it ordered and installed and replaced.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion is carried and 3.6 is moved to the regular meeting agenda. Beth, I just want, at this point, I just wanted to, did I miss any of these? There was quite a few. We're all good at this point. Okay, very good. Thank you. Now I'll move on to new business. Has there anyone had any new business?
Jeff, I have something that by coincidence just came in today from a constituent, and it's not really new business, but I guess we can consider it new business since it's a new year. But I had a constituent last year state that there is no driveway really from the OLVA church to Waterhouse Street, and yet many people who visit OLV church exit via Waterhouse Street. In other words, they made their own driveway, and Waterhouse is a very residential street and it doesn't get a lot of traffic. So when this constituent sees traffic, she becomes concerned, and she has children and some of her neighbors have children. So she's concerned about it. And I'd just like to have a follow-up. I know I lodged this concern last year, and I don't really know what happened with it. So if it's possible to get an update on that, I would appreciate it.
Are you, sorry, Councilor Kelly, are you referring to the back half of the OLVA parking lot is kind of like a almost dirt, same level between the parking lot as Waterhouse Street, and yeah, it looks like people do drive on it as a dirt path or as a dirt road.
Mayor Rosequist, that's exactly what I'm referring to.
Yep. Yeah.
And in the winter, the problem goes away because the church plows their snow into that area. So nobody tries to drive through the snowbank, of course. But now that it's spring again, the problem has been reported again. So I just would like maybe DPW to take a look at it, or maybe they already have and have some sort of solution in mind. But just need an update on it.
I believe at one time, there still might be there's barrier. And if there's a barrier, there's people driving around it. Short of putting a physical barrier up, whether it's a guardrail, concrete barriers, that's about the only way we're going to stop it. The question will come in is whose real estate we're putting it on, and who's paying for it. Basically it just comes down to money. We can block them off, that's for sure.
Okay.
So we'll take a look at it. We'll get with the mayor recommendation.
Okay. Appreciate that, Michael.
Okay, was there any other new business?
Yeah, I had a constituent reach out to me last week. I believe this constituent has actually reached out to several councilors and the mayor himself concerning South Acres Road. Stated that there's potholes everywhere. It's like basically riding in the Wild Wild West, as he stated, and that it has not been paved in 30 years. I wanted to know two things. One, when will South Acres Road be put on the docket to be repaved? And two, what's the turnaround time scheduling like for getting roads repaved in the city?
It isn't scheduled in the short term. I can tell you that because, 3 years ago, all this was handed over to Public Works. This wasn't even a Public Works. We didn't prioritize them. So we've been working on the fly with it. This is the first I've heard of complaints as far as wanting South Acres Road fully repaved. I do know it does. We have a lot of streets in similar condition, or worse. We are, like Jeff pointed out earlier in the meeting, we are methodically working through it. We'll take a look at it. I can't give you a firm date right now because I just don't know where it sets as far as our priorities. Andrew and I think we came up with 13 streets last fall when we went through the city that could be milled and paved. But we have to be careful not to mill and pave a street that needs full depth reconstruction too soon. But we can take a look at South Acres. A lot of times what we end up doing, if we are set up to mill and pave, for instance, down the flats where Councilor Kelly lives, we were able to pick off additional streets. We did well that particular year with the CHIPS money, and we knocked out a bunch there. So let's take a look at it. I can't, again, that's something I just can't pull out of my hat on a moment's notice, but this is the first I've heard complaints.
The second thing that I have, Mr. Brissett, is also concerning, I think under your house too, is concerning fire hydrant that's on Fort Brown Road. There was a trash bag over it for a year. The trash bag has been removed, but the hydrant is still out of service. Is there any plan to either get that capped off and cut out the way, or to be serviced and brought up to some stability?
Sorry, Councilor Canales, I apologize for this. This is my mistake. The constituent, both constituents that you're speaking of have also reached out, as you've indicated. The hydrant itself is out of service. It's not going to be put back into service. There's a number of hydrants surrounding that within a couple hundred feet, which are the primary use or the primary sources of water for that area. The concern is that the hydrant is out of service, and it may look like there are some dangerous, situation that could arise if a fire does happen. We're looking at removing the fire hydrant itself. We're gonna have to cut off water to a number of houses before we can remove it, but we are looking at removing that here in the short term.
Great, thank you.
And I'm sorry, and I am sorry because we did, I did speak to Mike and Andrew about it. I spoke to Beth about it. We reached back out to the constituent, let the constituent know that there was a concern. The response that we got, the response that we provided was sufficient to answer that person's concern, specific to the fire hydrant. But I apologize for not including you on that message.
Just adding on to it, when that came up, when it started failing, that's a tricky one for a couple reasons. We inherited that hydrant from the base. We took it over. It's an older hydrant. For whatever reason, they did not put an isolation valve on it. So to take it out of service requires us to actually take the water main down. And anytime we depressurize the water main in the city, particularly that AC pipe, which is out there, puts us at risk for water main breaks. So this is something we're perfectly safe. No, there's no public safety hazard there. We will schedule work for this season and we will remove it.
Thank you.
One other piece of business that I have, and I apologize for being late for today's meeting. And I know there was probably discussion about it earlier, but the sidewalks along Water Alley are in bad need of repair. And I know that Water Alley is scheduled to be resurfaced this year, and that doesn't necessarily include any work to the sidewalks. I understand that, but I would appreciate it if DPW would take a look at that sidewalk and see if there's some way to perhaps incorporate the work for that into the repaving of that street later on this year.
We'll take a look at it, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Kelly.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Was there any other new business? If not, Beth, is there anyone waiting to make any public comment? No public comment. Okay, I guess at this time I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Rosenquist, second by Councilor Canales. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
folks.
Have a great night.